So if you've been sued and maybe you've spoken with the collection lawyer, sometimes even if you don't speak to them, they'll still send out a letter that says, hey, here's this form. And when you look at the form, it's got the name of the lawsuit, it's got your name, their name, case number, and it says consent judgment or motion for consent judgment. You go, what in the world is this? Well, a consent judgment, let's just take those two words. Consent means you agree to it. Judgment that means you've lost the case. So you're saying to the court, I agree, I consent, I want this to happen, enter a judgment against me so that I lose my case. You might be going, well, why would anybody agree to that? And just to be candid with you, when I hear people talk about, I'm thinking about doing a consent judgment, my question is, why would you agree to that? Why agree to a judgment? Well, I'll give you at least the supposed reasons for why this is good. I think it's incredibly rare that it would ever be a good idea. But the idea is the collection lawyer comes in and says, look, if you'll agree to this judgment, I'll have my judgment against you, but I won't garnish your wages, I won't garnish your bank account, I won't try to sell your house or put a lien on your house. You and I will agree that you'll pay $300 a month. As long as you do that, we're good. But if you ever miss it, now I've got this judgment that I can use against you to take your house, take your car, take your bank account, take your wages. So I suppose there's occasionally a time where you say, you know what, I think I'm going to lose anyway, but if they garnish me, it'd be $800 a month. They're willing to take $300 a month. I'll do the consent judgment. But here are the problems. For most people, I think it's a terrible idea because it's a judgment. A lot of times it's portrayed as, it's no big deal. It's like a consent judgment. No, a consent judgment is a judgment. That's what it is. It's a judgment. It goes on your credit report, and it does allow garnishment, seizing of your house and what's called a sheriff's sale, your property, cars, bank accounts, all that sort of stuff. And I see people, they'll file an answer to the debt collection lawsuit. They get a trial date. They show up at trial. And what I want to say to them is, you're like that close to winning. And they get in there and they go, yeah, I guess I'll agree to a consent judgment. It's like, well, if you're going to agree to a judgment, why go to all that trouble? Just do it on the front end. If the worst thing that happens to you, if there's a judgment, is there's a judgment against you. Now, they can garnish you and all these things, but most people, in my experience, that agree to a consent judgment, there is either they break the agreement, in which case it's a real judgment, or the debt buyer breaks the agreement. So the agreement says, okay, I'll pay you $300 a month and you won't garnish my wages, and then the collection law firm or the debt collector, maybe it gets sold to somebody else. They go, you know what, you got to pay $500 a month. You go, no, I got an agreement. They go, we don't care about that. We have a judgment. We're going to take your house. We're going to take your car. We're going to take your wages. Now, you can fight against that, but why put yourself in that position? So I'm not going to say that you should never agree to a consent judgment, but I would be incredibly cautious and careful before I put my name on a consent judgment, because I think it's usually a terrible idea. So if you have more questions about consent judgments in Alabama, debt collection lawsuits in Alabama, debt buyers in Alabama, feel free to give us a call, 205-879-2447. We have a longer video on the 5 options that you must consider when you've been sued by a debt collector or a debt buyer in Alabama. If you like this video, then we're glad. That's why we're doing these videos. And you're welcome to subscribe to our channel. You can click, there should be a little button, maybe it's like a thumb or something, to like this video. You can share it on Twitter or Facebook. Just feel free to share it if you found it helpful. Maybe others would find it helpful as well. And you're always welcome to give us a call. So thanks for watching and have a great day.